everyone, and welcome to this webinar of the Social Inclusion Games.
Hello.
My name is Yara.
My name is Sahajo.
And we will be hosting today's webinar to tell you heaps of information about the Social Inclusion Games that we had this summer in the Netherlands.
Where you participated.
Most of them
Most of them, yes.
For sure. We both work for Humanitas Onderdak, and that is a shelter organization in the Netherlands, and they've hosted, together with the Social Inclusion Games Foundation, this year's games. We will be your host today. This will be our first webinar ever, so please bear with us if there are anything we might lose our text or if something goes wrong. Just enjoy, sit back and listen to what we have to say.
We're trying, huh? We do our best.
We will do our best. Just for you to know, this is a live stream, so if you encounter any problems during the live stream, this might have to do with your own internet connection. We do have a comment box, so if you have any requests or a question, please leave them on the comment box and we can answer them all in the end with our questions and answers. But also be aware we are recording this video, so if you ever want to look back or if you want to share it with your colleagues, you can do that. We will publish it on our website www.sign2018.eu, and there you can find everything that we will tell you today.
And there will be a link on Facebook also.
That's for sure.
That's easy.
Yes. So please relax and listen, and we hope you enjoy this webinar today.
Yes.
Sahajo will come back and he will tell you heaps of other things about methodology, facts and figures, but first I'll take off.
You're on.
So I will tell you a little bit about the history, facts and figures, about research and evaluation during the week that we did and 4 weeks after when every one of you got home. We will tell you a bit about methodologies that we and Denmark use in order to promote sport in day-to-day lives in our shelters. We will tell you a little bit about the legacy, and we will do a questions and answers. So if you have questions, write them down, put them in your comment box, and we will try to answer them in the end of the webinar or maybe later on our website. So to give you a little bit of an idea of how everything started, in 2009, we went to Denmark. We were invited by LVS to join their National Sport Week. And there we saw what sport could do with people that that we provide services for in our shelters, in our join-in centers, that they receive guidance from us during maybe their life. And that being there in Denmark gave us the idea that we should do the same in the Netherlands. So when our employees got back, they founded the Social Inclusion Games Foundation in order to get their own Social Inclusion Games in 2010. So that is what happened. We had a big 2010 Social Inclusion Games. We also did that with the Federation of Shelters in the Netherlands, and it was a big success. And after that, we implemented, as a shelter organization, we implemented sport in our guidance in day-to-day life. So what happens is we have special sport coordinators, very trained staff to go and sport activities, connected to local sport clubs, just to make sure that people are included and that we don't only provide special services, but everything that you can do in your regular life. So in 2017, we tried to do it again. We wanted to have another SIG sport event. So we asked the European Commission, we wrote an application obviously, and we asked them for a grant, and we got the grant received. And that is, we wanted to do it again because we believe that feeling the vibe, living the sport, and being part of such a great sport movement, if you can do that in a week, that gives so much empowerment and inspiration that you can take it back home as what happened with us in the Netherlands. So that's why we wanted to do it again. I will get back to you in a few seconds, and Sahajo will now present our facts and figures.
Okay, facts and figures. How many people did we got? Who were there and what happened? 1,711 people were there. That's a lot from all over Europe. Some more men than women, and more than 40% was between 18 and 34 years. So 60% was my age, a little bit older than 34. Almost half of the people had once participated in social inclusion games before. We have 35 nationalities. This is a great one. 35 nationalities. Very good. 32,000 meals were served, 6-7 days, 3 times a day, 1,711 people. So that's a lot. That's a lot food. 5,400 liters of water was consumed, and it was also poured over heads because it was a little bit hot, because the average heat was 30 degrees Celsius. So that's a lot. Better than rain, I think. The satisfaction rate from everybody, the number that we got was 8.6 out of 10. So that's very good. I was hoping I would get that in my school, 8.6 every time. So 83% of the people said, we want to come back, we want again. So that's nice. We hope 2020 Berlin maybe. How did we do that? 5 staff members were working for a whole year for this. 15 volunteers of the staff worked 3 months before the games, every day on this. And particularly proud we are of the fact that from the 28 sports activities, 23 sport clubs from Enschede and surroundings were participated, and this was very nice. I think it's very important that we had the connection with the sport clubs. 130 people volunteered with a total of 1,000 working hours, so that's a lot they put in. 15 creative activities like bandana making, I have one at home, art craft and a circus for kids. 7 side events for social workers were there also, for neighbors, politicians and civil servants, etc. Also about methodology and homelessness. 27 sponsors ranging from large catering companies to the local print shop were there. Very important, else we couldn't have done it. Okay. And now the media coverage. Facebook has 429 likes. 968 interactions were there, and 100,626 people were reached with Facebook, so that's a lot. Our website had 30,000 page views during the week, 180,720 hits over the last year, so that's a lot. A lot of people were reached by that. 46 news items with international coverage in the Netherlands. 5 national radio and television comments. Very good. 12 news items with international coverage across Europe, and particularly German. There were a lot of news items were there. So we have 1,711 people were there, and everybody got a medal, I hope. And if you didn't have one, I still have a few left, so write me and I'll get you one.
Alright everyone, then we are back to research and evaluation. And for the ones that really were paying attention, you have seen that Sahajo just did twice the part of our media coverage. This had to do with a little bit of a technique problem, but then at least you heard it twice and you know our impact. So the research and evaluation. We had a research bureau called DSP, and they were there during the week to do some surveys, to interview people that participated, and to give us an evaluation in the end of the program. So they have questioned volunteers, sport clubs, social workers, participants, and the project team. And we also did a questionnaire 4 weeks after the games, just to see how much legacy was still there. We are highlighting just the points that are relevant for today, but our total research report will be available mid-November on our website. And please be aware, we did not question all 1,711 people, obviously. So this is a representative amount of people that we will show you. So the motives and barriers for people to join the SIG was to play sport, to make new friends, to feel part of a group, to go abroad, and to improve my health. That was what participants told us. And this group of participants had a history of almost once a week being or taking part in a sport activity in whatever service they use, so in their shelter or in their join-in centers. And this might sound as a very big group, 50%, but what we have seen is that the people who attended during the games were already sport-minded. So what we know is that the average sport participation in the groups, socially marginalized, as we would call it, is much, much lower. But this sounds like a good beginning. And why is sport? Why do people sport? They do it for fun, they do it for improving their health, and to get connected with friends and others. And we asked people, are you happy with the amount of sport that you get when you're at home? 50% said, yes, we're quite happy to what we do, but there is almost 30% that really would like to either sport more or even start sporting. There is almost 10% that is actually not sporting at the moment, but would like to begin doing that. One of the things that we also did is getting quotes. So what did the week do for you or your participants or your clients, or even for the sports clubs that helped us build the tournaments? So one of the quotes that highlighted it for me is that the encounters with others from all over Europe was a big thing. And that you can see that it's very special for this group to be on a podium, to get a medal, to be rewarded for what they do. That open atmosphere was what they liked the most and what energized. And this was a quote here. So if I go back to, Sahajo also already told you a little bit about it, but what is the general evaluation that we had from the SIG? So it was very positively evaluated, and we had an 8.6 on a scale of 10 for participants and volunteers, and that was a major bonus for us. We had a lovely week, but getting this grade was really nice. Professionals and sport clubs also rated us very well with an 8.5 out of 10, so that was great. And 93% of the participants and 87% of the professionals said, hey, if you have a new edition, I would love to be there. So please be aware, 2020 Berlin, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but keep an eye on 2020. Then there is another quote that I would like to share with you. And it says that it's very special for clients that normal people, which sounds bad actually, speak to them and pay attention, and that this does not occur in normal life. Even for professionals working with the group, this was an impact that we could see on clients. And you don't have to think about it today, but I'd like you to think about it in the future, what this sentence means. Because this means that some of the people in our group, socially marginalized, are not being treated as human beings, are not being treated as equals. And this is what we could see from our evaluation. Then the top 5 highest impact indicators given by participants is that they connected with new people, that they felt community, that they knew that playing sport is now, they now know that playing sports make them feel better about themselves, that they feel highly appreciated by it. And that it gives me the confidence to do things that I did not do before. And that is one of the things that we want to reach by doing sport, is find your strength, find what you can do. You can always perform better in sport even though you think you can't. Professionals got the best satisfaction from helping others, from seeing the results of a week like this, giving a sense of personal achievement. They learned new skills, and they have more belief in the power of sport for vulnerable people. Another thing that was highly evaluated is the atmosphere, the care of the team, the location, competence of the volunteers, and the entertainment. And that was obviously a big plus from Sahajo, because he was one of our MCs for the whole week, and that was amazing. So our positive impact as well is participants felt motivated during the week. They were enthusiastic. They were feeling part of a big group. They felt important and worthiness. They connected with other people. They had contact with foreigners that they never had before. And they were helping others. So in our survey of 4 weeks later, we also asked, hey, professionals, could you see a decrease or an increase in behavior or things that your clients did that they did not do before the games? What our professionals told us is that people were more aware of eating healthy. They were doing more about teamwork, and their self-esteem was getting better. We also asked our professionals what kind of habits or behavior did you see decreasing? So what kind of habits were coming down after the games? And that was the use of substances, so that is drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. Less complaining, which was a good one to hear. The feelings of anxiety decreased in some parts of the groups, and the feeling of being marginalized was less after the week. And I'd like to take you to a quote now, which we got from a participant, quite a young guy, who shared a little bit about his life. I had never traveled abroad, and traveling very rarely at home, as I was very anxious and had the fear of being judged and the fear of flying. This is the first time abroad, and it's been a new experience. I have still been anxious, but I've got here, I've done things, so I feel my confidence has improved. I have been able to speak to new people and to people from other countries, which has been difficult, and I've been nervous. But I've definitely felt that I've pushed my boundaries. I'm now considering going abroad with a friend. And those quotes made everything worth. All the week, the year in prior that we did, these are the quotes that we lived for. So Hadja will now tell you something about the methodologies that we use.
I dreaming, I dreaming, I dreaming.
What a nice movie. Oh, I like it. Sometimes I look back and I think, oh, this was a great time. This was a great time. Methodology. I'll take you through the sport aspect of the methodology, how you can use sport in everyday life. And we want to give you a little insight in a better understanding of how sport activities can be enhanced among socially vulnerable people and how to overcome the barriers for participants and professionals to engage more in sports. For example, as part of a treatment or a rehabilitation process. I would like you to do this by giving you the example of how we did that from 2010 forward here in Twente, in the Netherlands. Humanitas Onder Dak and the Salvation Army and the Psychiatric Help Mediant and others now are working together from 2010. More than ever, we talked to each other and saw the possibilities of sport, of making sport together and making it bigger and making it good for our clients and for participants. I will also tell a bit about 3 different and somewhere similar methodologies. And of course, I tell you about my own experience. Sport coordinator from Humanitas Onder Dak. In 2010, we started the daytime activities with a lot of sport, with a lot of sport-minded colleagues, and we integrated this in our activities because it was fun, and we connected different and better to all the people. We were an activity center in the daytime. We were open. Work and sport were combined because we noticed that this was a good to encounter people, to see people in a different way. We had a big cellar, and our band played there, and we practiced every week. But we also had a fitness space over there. We hired every week a sports hall in the city, and we went there every week. And we went and we gave sports lessons. We organized tournaments, and it became bigger and bigger. And slightly on, we get more connected with other people, with other organizations, and we say, hey, you can come also to us. And they say, we have also a little tournament over there, you can come also to us. So it went bigger and bigger. And the goal of this is not to make a tournament, but the goal is, that was one of the goals, but also to connect the people with the sport clubs in the society. So in daily life, through the sport. At the same time, we organize the sport structure inside our institution. Every location has 2 staff members who organize the sport activities with help from as many as possible clients and residents to participate, to help them. And that worked, and it's still working, so that's nice for us. A good organization in your own organization is very important. And now we see we see in the Netherlands that it's growing, that more institutions do this and take their clients through sport activities and connect them with other people in gyms or arranging discounts in sport clubs, in fitness clubs. And it goes better and better every time. Okay. The social inclusion games, we have determined 3 methodologies that are used in the Netherlands and Denmark to enhance sport participations among clients in shelters and refugees. I will give you a short summary of those methodologies. If you want to read more about it, because I can't tell you everything, links to the original websites can be found on our website, so it's important. At first, krachtwerk, strength-based approach. You go from your own power. You make your client go in their own power, in what they can do, and from there you go on. It was developed in America by Charles Rapp and Rick Gosha in the University of Kansas and used in more than 40 American states successfully. People regain control over their lives, and by discovering their strength and using it for achieve their own goals. Very important. People essentially want the same things, but not have the same possibilities, resources, health and finances. And despite difference and inequalities, most people can live a full and satisfying life in their community. The community plays a big major role in informing and raising awareness among the population, families and individuals. Getting connected with them is the key, because you can't stay in your own little shelter. You have to get connected, because that's the key to become better for yourself. Focusing on strength rather than focusing on weaknesses. Go what you can do very good, and that helps. It increases motivation and it helps you. There are 6. I do the small steps method. The small steps method is now the next. That's particularly used in Denmark. And it's called the small steps method, and refers to the steps that individuals take on a daily basis so that he or she can move on with their life. The method is built on an approach that is holistic, personal, individual, and free of diagnosis and categorization. So the small steps method is a departure from the one-sided focus on the big steps that we all must do in the established social and political system. Big step says you're an addict, you have to become clean. You're unemployed, so go to work. You're homeless, so go to permanent home. There is a truth in that, of course, but the big steps method it doesn't come out of itself. The small steps method is achievable. It's in the form of taking a bath or having your clothes washed or eating, of course, saying hello and good morning and goodbye, being seen by the other and being recognized and respected. This is small steps, but very important to achieve the bigger steps. Those are the very beginning. Or taking part in common activities such as setting the table to eat, cooking, going for a walk, being at the center of helping others, playing a game, sports, attending a football match, or talking about today's newspapers. It's small things, small steps. The small steps method is the result of the process that occurs in individuals when they are allowed to be themselves. Give them the chance to come to themselves and be themselves. Why do we do that? The goal of the small steps method is to make today better for the socially disadvantaged people, in the hope that tomorrow will be better than yesterday. You got it? That's an important one. The staff in the centers primarily present and close in on the relationships. And it goes a bit too far to say how it works, but it goes on, it has to be a sanctuary for the people. It's about presence and integrity that you have to tell to the people, that your attitude has to be holistic. The focus is on the people, not on the diagnosis, not on the problems. There are problems, but you have to go where the strength is from the people. And involvement. Okay, more on the website. And third is the Life Goals method. Life Goals Netherlands is there, and Life Goals is ook in Enschede city here, that's here. And it's a coalition of the willing, between the municipality of Enschede, the local sport clubs and the organizations that provide services for vulnerable people in Enschede. It's based on using the sport to socially activate people. The main priority is to decrease isolation for some people. The other goals of the methodology are to gain the working relation and develop and implement a structured sport program for the target group. That's important. To enhance the abilities of the local sport clubs, because you have to enhance the local sport clubs with it, because then you make the step to the society. The target group of the Life Goals group are people that are socially isolated and that are at risk of getting isolated. Okay, so in general, overall, sport plays a big role in the recreation, in the daily living, in the work and education of family and social network, such as krachtwerk, strength-based approach, and in the other methodologies. Sport is used as a starting point to get back on track. It might be too much to ask from somebody to find a job or see their family at once, but it can be easier. It can be an easier step to start with a sport. If it's walking or running, everything is possible. A person gets back into their own rhythm, into get new contacts, feel worthy, etc., etc. Krachtwerk, small steps and life goals are all good tools and to use, and they start all working to inclusion. Oh, we hebben nog een quote. Nee, ik heb geen quote. Ik heb wel een quote. I have a quote. I have to read it. I thought they were doing that. Okay, listen. For many participants, it's the first time they meet others. The sports activities make that your defense disappears. It makes that people get in contact easier. They are less suspicious of the first sight. On the first sight, their attitudes are changing. Boundaries are blurring. People really change after such a week.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm a project worker here at the Rock Trust, a youth homelessness charity in Scotland, and we participated in the Social Inclusion Games 2018.
Hi there, my name's Colin. I work within the housing department. I'm a project worker.
Participating in the Social Inclusion Games gave our young people the opportunity to meet people from international backgrounds, as well as develop their confidence in trying new sports and being in surroundings that they weren't used to. It also allowed staff to meet people internationally that do the similar sort of type of work we do. And for one example, one of our young people is very socially isolated, doesn't often get on transport alone, that's including buses. He walks a lot of places, and so getting on a plane and getting to Enschede was a massive achievement. He also participated in all different sports that he hadn't tried before. He met new friends and met people from outside of the country that he's from, which is something that he hadn't done before. All the young people that participated did try new sports, and all the young people that participated, I would say, improved in confidence because of this. We really hope that we will be able to return and that we will be able to bring more young people next time in 2020.
Yes. Yeah, one thing that I would like to say as well in regards to the whole, to the organisation and in regards to the staff members in Enschede at the Social Inclusion Games was they were amazing. They totally went out their way, you know, to make us feel welcome, to make our young people feel welcome. The whole setup, the organisation was amazing. Everybody just pitched in, and it was really great. One of the things also that was just so good was the activities. They were so varied, and also the medal ceremonies in the evening was something that was really great. For example, you know, for our young people that had done well in one of the sports, to then be able to go up on a stage and accept a medal when, you know, that would be something that they'd never experienced before, especially in front of, you know, quite a big crowd. You know, could have been quite, you know, daunting for them, but the fact that, you know, with a bit of encouragement and support, they actually got up on that stage and accepted a medal was just wonderful. And the smiles on their faces at the end of that was, it was great. You know, and you could tell that from the photos and the footage that we captured afterwards. It was great. In regards to the other participants, they were the most helpful. Everybody would come forward looking to give us help. We didn't have any sleeping bags at the start, so everybody made a big effort to try and find us stuff, and you know, there was no problems there at all. Everybody just chipped in and looked for ways to help us, which was it was great. What else can I say in regards to the whole
I think even
set
for
up.
you, Colin, as a staff member, participating in the training and public speaking, which is something that Colin doesn't like very much, was a massive achievement and an improvement in confidence in our staff team as well.
Yeah, so even myself, you know, getting pushed out of my comfort zone, wow, that was, you know, that was something I never thought I would really do. But you know, when I was given the chance to do that in one of the training days, I took the chance. I stood up and I spoke about the Rock Trust, and I mean, that was a big thing for me. So that was great. So it wasn't just the young people that were getting some good experiences and learning from the social inclusion games. It was the staff as well, and meeting other staff from other organisations, and that was great. And hearing about the different organisations, that the work that they do, we were able to then take that back to the Rock Trust, let our staff know about what they're doing in other countries. It was wonderful.
I just felt that there was a general sense of solidarity between all the participants and all the workers and the volunteers that were there, and we're really thankful for being invited to come to the Social Inclusion Games.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And back
to the studio, Yara.
Bye.
So let me tell you something about our legacy, because what we did was obviously a lot of work for a week of sport. But the second thing that we want to achieve is to build a legacy, to build a sport movement throughout Europe, to make sport the beginning of inclusion. So we asked people about their plans, about their intentions, and about their thoughts. As you could say, any change in life cannot occur without thinking about it, without making plans, and without being committed to really change. So what we asked and what we saw is that around 65% of all participants definitely wanted to continue sporting after the SIG. And the reasons is, I like the sport, it makes me feel happy, it makes me feel good, it clears my head, and it's some form of therapy for me. Almost all professionals feel confident to continue sporting when they get back. They have witnessed, and that's why they feel confident to continue. They are very willing to share their experiences they had, and they are very willing to share and use the knowledge to help introducing sport in their own organizations. They're very committed to making sport a part of the day-to-day life for this very special group. So in our 4-week later survey, almost 75% of all social workers already shared their knowledge, and they already encouraged their clients more to participate in activities. And some of them already have tournaments planned, so a big heads up for you guys who already started doing something at home. And almost all sport club representatives said that they are now more willing to be open for including people from our target groups, from our shelters, or people that feel isolated. So that's also a big bonus. We also asked about experiences and examples, great examples, about clients coming back home and the change we saw. So what we heard is that people were not using substances during the week, but are still abstinent today. So that means almost 3 months after, people are still not using any substance, like drugs or alcohol or medication may be lowered. And that is something that we could only dream of. Communications and relationships gotten better. People told us that they've reached more goals during this week than they could have ever done in their office. That was also something that we did not expect, but we did hear that from you guys. Some people found volunteer work, sometimes in sport clubs as well. And some are actually participating already in running events or even boxing. Then we obviously asked for some tips and tops and lessons learned, things that we should do the next time, things that we should not do the next time. And this is what you told us. So the barriers that you guys faced to come to SIG were financial barriers mostly for clients, but also the lack of enthusiasm, and that was probably because the SIG was not being done since 2010. People were not known for it, so that was something that we probably have to work on the next years. There was not enough time to prepare, and the lack of travel documents for clients was also a barrier to come to the SIG. Some tips were given to keep the spirit alive. So one of the tips was to organize and promote small sport activities with follow-up lessons. So if you like the tournament and you want to continue doing the sport, arrange a few group lessons. Also, use designated sport ambassadors. That really gets you going in your organization. These people have a couple of hours a week or per month, and they are very focused on sport, and that is how you can start your own movement in your own organization. And there was also one very creative tip, and that is organize an evening watching photos, watching the videos back from the SIG with your clients to keep the spirit alive. Then you guys told us to copy for the next event, and that was the mix of social workers and clients, the mix of teams from different organizations, the day and night rhythm. We've heard that people were tired at the end of the day, and then they had a good night's sleep. Lunch and dinners, variety of activities, friendliness of the safety guards. There were hardly to no incidents. I really want to emphasize that to you. During the social inclusion games, we did not have any incidents. And that was a big plus. It was amazing. And the medal ceremony. That is something you guys told us to copy for the next event. So we will do that, and probably we'll fly in Sado next time to make sure there is a great MC to share the medals. Well, the following tips were also given, because not everything went as perfectly. So these are the tips that you guys gave us. Well-known sports are easier. Do not do Frisbee, because that is something that you guys are not used to doing. It was an experiment. I think we really try to do it well. Maybe next time different sports are being offered. Spread the rules beforehand. We do not know what the rules of a sport is, so share them before. Eating more healthy food. We got comments and we've heard them about the food. And yes, you guys were right. The food could have been more healthy. I will also tell you that is very expensive. So maybe next time we can figure something out and we can offer that. And there was also a question for physiotherapists and massage therapists, and I can tell you we could have used the massage as well, so we will give those tips back to Berlin as well. So one other quote that I would love to share with you is that being somebody and giving a boost in self-confidence. One of our boys never won a medal before. He was so proud. So now I'd like to tell you something about Berlin 2020, and I know Berlin is watching at the moment. Ingo and Robert, you did a really great job because
Berlin.
So during the week there was five team members assigned to monitor us, to ask us questions, to watch and learn, so they can have their own Berlin 2020 Social Inclusion Games. Just to be aware, this will be in the summer, but, and there is a but, there is no certain funding yet. So we are really trying to make it work. Berlin is trying to make it work, but it's not for certain yet. So please keep an eye on our website, because we will share you updates of Berlin. But what is being done time, because it's obviously 2018 still. there is a date set with the Berlin mayor to give him or her, not really sure, a heads up on what is the social inclusion games, what could Berlin offer to our people, being a host city. The location search has started, so they are looking for perfect locations in the city. And a new foundation is being arranged together with 5 other NGOs to make a German social inclusion games foundation with their own board, and that they can start working towards the games. We obviously will share our knowledge, and we are in close contact with Berlin, so we can help them and make sure that the network that we made this year will be used in future years. I guess this is whatever I wanted to tell you, whatever Sahaja wanted to tell you, and I've heard from the team behind all of this that there are some questions being put in our comment box. So I will try to answer them as good as I can. If you still have questions later, then please leave them in our comments or email us, and we will try to answer them as good as we can. So one of the questions that came in is, how did you reach all of the shelters in Europe? And that is with the use of FEANZA. And FEANZA is our umbrella organization for shelters in Europe. They represent all of the shelters for European Parliament. They make briefs, they produce newsletters, they share researches throughout Europe, and those are the ones that helped us reach out to all of the countries. Obviously, we had our own contacts, but FEANZA was a big help. So thanks to them. Another question, what was the biggest challenge to put a sport event like this size and this nature? And we can think of 3 things, I guess, and that was finding a venue that would fit. Because not only you need a tent for food and get-togethers, but you need playing fields, you need sport fields, you need creative areas, but you also need a campsite. And we found the perfect location, and I think we never wanted to change that one. So that was hard getting together, but we found it. Another one is getting organizations committed to coming, and that's obviously a hard thing. We know our clients, and we know we're also people. We can change our minds today from tomorrow. So if you today want to participate and tomorrow you're out, that happens. So it was a big thing. It took a lot of time. Eventually it worked out. How much did it cost? That's a good question. We got a grant from the European Commission. I think it costed around 600,000 euros. But if you look at what all of our sponsors did, I guess you could say it was around 1 million worth. And even if you could see the quotes and see what kind of movement started, I would say it was priceless. How can I host a game of my own? Well, you can check on our website, and from mid-November we will have a handbook written, thanks to Steph. She wrote a handbook how to organize the games yourself. So if you're thinking about organizing these games, check out the handbook, and that will give you an idea and details on how to arrange an event. We encourage you to do that, but maybe start small on a local level with your local sport clubs. I guess this was it. I would love to thank you. Sahaja will join me now. I'd love to share with you, and that is this one. We received this one from Saul during the week, and I guess this gave us a boost in a week that was very tiring, but it was emotional and it was great. Thank you.
Thank you also. Thank you.
Thanks for being such great supporters. See you in 2020, Berlin.
Yeah, or before that.